All righty, the time is now 5:30 p.m. I call the August 21st, 2025 meeting of the Alpharetta Board of Zoning Appeals to order. Thank you all. For the record, that we have a quorum with 7 members present. Please make sure that your phones and other mobile devices are silenced. And so our first order of business tonight is to elect the election of vice chairman. So as Kirk Driscoll is qualified to run for city council, our first order of business will be to elect a vice chair for the remainder of 2025. Would someone like to make a nomination? They're supposed to do it after. We'll make that.
I'll make the motion then.
Okay. Turn your mic on. Wait, your mic.
I'll move to appoint Mark Elber.
All right. Commissioner Gelber, do you approve or do you accept the nomination for vice chair? Yes. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, we have our vice chair. So now the roll call, we do have 7 members present tonight. And if you will please stand for the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so first up we have our meeting minutes from the 6/19 meeting. Has everybody had a chance to go over the minutes? Do we have any corrections? Anybody have any corrections or anything? Do we have a motion to approve?
I motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
Second? All right. Everybody in favor? Okay. All right, Aaron, would you like to read the public hearing?
Thank you, Chairman. An individual requesting to be heard on a matter related to the purpose of hearing must be recognized by the chair before addressing the board. Upon rising to speak, the speaker must identify themselves and furnish an address before proceeding with any comments or remarks. The board will allow the proponents a total of 10 minutes to speak in support of an application. Opponents will be allowed 10 minutes to speak in opposition. Comments are accepted first from the applicant, followed by persons speaking in favor, and then from those in opposition. Upon conclusion of any opposing comments or presentations, the chair will allow the applicant to offer a rebuttal if at any time is remaining in the original allotted 10 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so for our public hearing tonight, the first item for up is item V-25-16, Nash 3565 Newport Bay Drive. It's a consideration of a variance to Unified Development Code subsections 2.3.3b and 2.3.3c7 to reduce the rear swimming pool setback from 20 feet to 10 feet. The property is located at 3565 Newport Bay Drive and is legally described as being located in land lot 1188, 2nd District, 1st Section, Fulton County, Georgia. Mr. Woodman.
Thank you, Chairman and board members. The first item before you this evening is a request from Aqua Design Pool and Spas. They're requesting a variance to reduce the rear setback for a swimming pool from 20 feet to 10 feet. And I have the location map on the overhead. This property is located at 3565 Newport Bay Drive, and that is in the Newport Bay subdivision. And this is the property here. I know this got a lot going on, but this is the property right here. It backs up to the Golf Club of Georgia, the golf course. About a half-acre property. It's own CUP, Community Unit Plan. It's part of the Windward community. Property is developed with a 2-story, about 3,800 square foot single-family detached home. And the Unified Development Code requires a 20-foot rear setback for this property. This is the applicant's site plan. So this is Newport Bay Drive here. The home, existing home, sits here. And the proposed pool is here. So most of this is decking, and then the pool is in this location here. This red line here represents the 20-foot code required setback for the swimming pool. As you can see, that goes through the pool. They're asking to reduce that setback to 10 feet. And then this is the rear property line. Again, this property backs up to the golf course. There is a stream on the golf course, and these lines here represent the stream buffer, and you can see that stream buffer encroaches into the rear yard of this property, which is why the pool is positioned in this location. They're trying to respect the stream buffers and the trees in the stream buffers, as well as the trees in this corner of the lot as well. The applicant is not proposing any tree removal with the installation of this pool. Pool is about 544 square feet. And we did look at this neighborhood, and about a quarter of the homes within Newport Bay have swimming pools. So they're asking for something, a condition that is found existing within this subdivision. Looking at the review criteria for a variance, we believe that this variance request is related to respecting the existing stream buffers and saving the trees in their rear yard. That is their hardship. As I mentioned, this site plan was laid out to respect both those stream buffers and trees. In addition, the applicant did provide letters of no objection from adjacent property owners and the Newport Bay HOA. And we have had some similar examples of setback variances for pools that have been approved. We are recommending approval of the applicant's request subject to one condition. That condition reads, swimming pool shall be permitted as depicted on the submitted site plan, which is this plan here, with a 10-foot rear setback. And that concludes the presentation. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer those.
I have a question, and so just help me here, because I thought the pool the pool setbacks was 10 feet or less if the setback for the lot was less than that. Is that not the case?
So the swimming pool setback is the setback is from the rear and side setbacks, because the pool has to be it cannot be in the front yard. So the pool setback from the side and rear is the building setback or 20 feet, whichever is less. The building setback for this property, the rear building setback for this property, I believe, is 35 feet. So the 20 feet applies.
Okay.
The side setbacks, I believe, is 10 feet. So the 10-foot setback for the pool applies on the sides.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So, my microphone's still on. How do you construct a pool on the setback line for the stream buffer? Like, it's touching the stream buffer, right?
That's a good point. So this is a non-perennial stream. So it's got a total of 75-foot stream buffer and impervious setback. So the first 25 feet is the state's buffer. The next 25 feet, which represents the 50-foot buffer, is the city's buffer. And then the outer 25 feet is actually not a stream buffer. It's called an impervious setback for the stream. So you can build an impervious surface right up to the edge of that impervious setback. This is actually labeled incorrectly on this plan. They're calling it out as a 75-foot buffer here.
Yeah.
It's actually the 75-foot impervious setback.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I guess my concern is how construction is going to work as far as fencing, right, and land disturbance in the setback, right? If they're building to the line, how are you going to get your excavators and stuff around and not get within the setback?
So you can grade within the impervious setback. So you can put tree-safe fence, silt fencing up within this outer area here.
Within the 20,
You
the
just
last 25
cannot
feet.
leave any within this outer 25 feet.
Okay.
You just can't leave or build any impervious surfaces within that area.
Okay.
So they'll have to, and then, but it's a great question though, because there are some trees within this stream buffer that, and their critical root zones extend into this impervious setback. So they will have to show on the ENG, they'll have to show how they will bring any kind of heavy equipment back there and protect the roots of the trees.
Okay.
Any other questions? Go ahead. There you go.
Michael, the arborist, David Shostak, he had to express opinions on impact to the trees.
So David is part of this review. The city arborist is part of the review of any public hearings. And he did review this, and he did not have any additional conditions that needed to be added with this. So he was supportive of this request.
Michael, I have a question. Who will be monitoring actually to make sure that it's been really implemented based on what has been agreed? Who go and inspect, or is it, I was just wondering.
Yeah, so great question. So if this is approved, the next step will be an ENG, which is an individual lot land disturbance permit for the swimming pool. That permit will show how they will have, get access to the rear yard, how they're going to protect the trees, their limits of disturbance. And then we have site inspectors, once that land disturbance permit and then the building permit are approved, we have both land development inspectors as well as building inspectors that will go out to the site to ensure conformance with those approved plans.
Anybody else? All right.
I just had a quick,
Yeah.
how do these previously approved reductions compare in terms of distance? I mean, are they comparable?
The previously
Yeah,
approved setback
like the
variances?
Gramercy Lane and Ebley, I mean, are they comparable? in
Yeah,
terms
so
of
those both that were referenced in the staff report, those were 20 to 10, so a
Okay.
50% reduction, which this board can hear variances up to 50%. So typically, you don't always see the full 50% before you, but for most pool setback variances that we've seen, most of them are for the 50%, so from the 20 down to 10.
Okay, yeah, no, I was just, to see how they compared.
Yeah.
But that answers, thank you.
Yes.
Michael, I had one other question. Staff is recommending approval subject to swimming pool being permitted as depicted on the submitted site plan with a 10-foot rear setback, correct?
Correct.
Are there any other recommendations from staff with regard to this, other than this one?
No, sometimes you will see with setback variances, we may ask for, or a neighbor may ask for some additional plantings along a common property line to screen. In this case, because this backs up to the golf course, and there are so many trees in the area, we didn't feel that that was appropriate. And there were no requests from neighboring property owners.
Is the golf course beyond the three sections there? Is that, or where is it, that third section?
It's on the other side of the stream.
On the other side of the stream? Oh, okay, over here.
Yes, so this is their rear property line. The golf course property technically starts at the common property line here, but the actual golf course is across other side of the stream. Yeah, this is mainly just wooded through here.
I have another question. So technically, like the drip line for one or two of the trees is in the pool?
So there is some encroachment into the critical root zone of some of the existing trees, but those have been determined to not exceed the 20% max that the city arborist can
So we're
approve.
within the administrative?
Yes, yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would the applicant like to please come forward? Good evening. Please state your name and your relationship to this application.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Faye Colbert with Aqua Design Pools and Spas. I'm here on behalf of our homeowners, the Noss family. We are looking to install the swimming pool that Michael so wonderfully presented for us. Do you have any questions that I can help address? I can further branch on some of the questions that you have asked already in regards to construction, things of that nature as well, if you would like me to.
Yeah, could you address how the equipment will get back there?
Sure, absolutely. So, well, I was hoping, Michael, can I borrow your site plan one more time, sir? I have a big one, but he has one up here. Thank you.
And if you can speak into this microphone if you need to point at that.
Okay, how do I get it up on here for them? Joel. Oh. Thank you, Joel. Okay, so our point of access is going to be coming in from the driveway and down. We do have this tree here in which we will have tree-safe fence around this area to protect the critical root zone and not just the drip area of the actual tree or the canopy roots. So we'll have tree-safe here. We're going to come down this area and then around. And of course, if the arborist requests any tree prescriptions or anything in that nature to further protect this tree, we will for sure. We're also going to have the surveyor come and stake out this impervious setback here, as well as the 10-foot setback, assuming approved, so that way we do not encroach in those areas. So we will have tree-safe fencing, double row of silt fencing to ensure that there's no silt washing into this further area here, as well as the rear property. So there will be tree-safe fencing and markings to ensure that we're not encroaching or building into these impervious setbacks, as well as the setback itself.
All right, I have another question.
Yes, ma'am.
There's got to be a reason. Why isn't the pool maybe like just 2 or 3 feet closer to the house?
So if we get, can y'all hear me? So if we get any closer to the house, we prefer, as well as our engineers, we have engineers that we work with on a daily basis. If we get any more than 6 feet to the foundation of the house, there's a possibility that it could undermine the foundation of the home, therefore requiring additional steel and concrete and things in that nature. Because we are at 5 feet, we already have plans to install additional steel and things and concrete in the spa area to ensure that the home itself has additional structural stability with the pool installed. So if we get any closer, we don't want to harm the foundation of the house. That's coming from an engineering standpoint.
So it's an expense situation,
It's not just an expense, it's also a walkway. So if we get any closer than 4 feet, we don't really have room for someone to walk through. You also don't want to build your pool up against the house.
Is it a dirt hall, or are you going to repurpose the dirt?
It's a dirt hall, for sure. Everything is coming out, unless, of course, we need it. The property, back over here, the property in this area goes uphill, so all of this has to come, all this dirt here has to come out. There's really nowhere to put it.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
This may be for the applicant question. Is it my understanding you already informed the neighborhood and you also got the approval from your neighborhood association? And is there any objections?
No objections. We did send the letter to them, and it is contingent upon this approval.
I have one question. So this neighborhood is a sub-association within the Windward development, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Has the Windward Community Services Association approved this?
They have not. It's contingent upon this approval and the final site plan for the city of Alpharetta.
That's what they're waiting on right now? You have an application that's already been submitted?
It has not. It would be contingent upon this. That's why we went ahead and did this. and the submittal for the LGP or the engineering plan, so that way we have a final plan to send to them.
Okay, thank you.
So just piggyback actually on what is being said. So you're going to come back, assuming that, let's say that the neighborhood association did not agree. So since we already gave the approval, is it a coming back and then are we going to relook at it or how's it that? I thought that's the way around. First we get the approval, you get the approval and then before you come and then present it based on the conditions. So I was just wondering, how is it going to work? Are you going to get the approval later on, and are you going to come back to be approved? For some reason, I felt that you have to get that first based on that condition before we approve it. Otherwise,
But
once
it depends on the conditions. If we approve with the condition that it's this site plan, they don't approve the site plan, null and void.
That is correct. We can't change the site plan after you approve it. We cannot change the location of the swimming pool or anything in that nature. The only thing that can change, and this is from my experience, someone please correct me if I'm wrong, from my experience with working with City of Alpharetta, once something is approved, it cannot change. So if you guys approve this variance, that pool does not change location. The only thing that can change is by request of the staff to change the location of silt fencing or the location of tree-safe fencing or location of construction access. That's really the only thing that can change.
I feel like your question might have been, can Windward turn it down? Is that what you were asking?
yes, it is. If they turn it down, what's going to be? That's what it is. We have some condition which is saying that based on that condition, is there any letter saying that based on that condition they agree? So if we have that, we can go ahead and move forward. So I was just wondering, can they turn it down? You know,
Technically, yes.
we're just
can
taking your
turn it
word
down.
as a wise. You know, that's why I'm.
Yes,
trying.
technically they could turn it down for sure. Have I had one turned down by Windward? No. From experience, I have not had one turned down, but they have asked that we supply the copy of the permit plans and things in that nature. So that is why we're before you before submitting. That way we can give them full approved plans by commissioners. So they know that we're asking for permission to do this. And that way we don't have to keep going through comments or questions or revisions with them as well.
We had to do that at my house. It was an administrative variance, but the HOA wouldn't approve it until the city said, yeah, you can do it. They didn't want us to not be approved by the city, but be approved by the HOA and just start work that wasn't up to code. So I don't think that's totally out of the ordinary.
And if Windward says no, we still can't proceed because I know my homeowners will not want to pay fees, fines, and everything else under the sun for not having approved, especially in Windward.
I think you can add a condition to our approval that it's subject to the approval of Windward and any sub-HOA within Windward that would have to approve this.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
You have a question?
The process you've gone through with Windward in the past has been through modifications or construction committee?
For construction of new pools.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And you said you've submitted these in similar situations and they've not turned down your application?
I've never had one turned down, no, sir.
Okay.
We
Thank
try
you.
to go above and beyond and provide, hard samples if they want. If they want to hand-delivered pavers, I will take them to their door, so. Yes, sir.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any discussion amongst staff or amongst board members?
Can I ask staff another question?
Sure.
I'm not really trying to be a pain in the neck here, but and I'm not trying to redesign another pool, but I'm wondering, has any other placement been considered, like moving of the hot tub over a little bit so that you can turn the pool? I just feel like half the pool is in the setback. Normally when we approve things, it like goes over the setback a little bit, or like a corner of the pool hits the 10-foot, but not this much of the pool. So I was just wondering, has staff worked with the applicant to see if there was any other way to rearrange this so that we weren't hitting the setback, hitting everything the way that we were. I would feel more comfortable knowing that there was a lot of thought that went into this.
Understood. So because of the constraints in the backyard with the stream and the existing trees, we did not push the applicant to make any changes to the pool layout as you see it now. Also, because we've had variances that do reduce the rear yard pool setback down to 10, and we had that precedent, we did not ask the applicant to make any changes to this layout.
Michael, a question, I'm sorry. So this is, the condition for approval is based on what, hardship? Is it considered based on hardship?
So this is a variance which requires a hardship. And those three criteria for a variance that are listed in the staff report. We believe that this request does meet those criteria.
And then the next question is, this is for educational purpose, actually, for future. Let's say an example, I want to build actually bigger size pool, and at the same time I'm asking a variance. That is something that actually can go against the hardship if that's to happen, right?
So we do look at if someone is presenting a variance to us, and let's just say it's a setback variance for a swimming pool, and the pool is unusually larger than the typical swimming pool in the neighborhood, certainly we would believe that that's a self-imposed hardship. So they're asking for something that is different than what the other properties in that same neighborhood have. So certainly, and that's why I called out the size of the pool. We looked at all the lots in the same neighborhood to see the number of lots that had a pool, just to make sure that what the applicant was asking for, that there were other lots in that same neighborhood that had something similar. And then we also looked at the size of those pools in comparison to what the applicant was asking for. And the size of the pool that they're asking for here is very similar to the other pools within the same neighborhood. It's not much, they haven't oversized the pool, and that's the reason for the variance. That's not what's happening.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Yep. Do we have any public comment? Okay. Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll call for a motion for approval with condition that the neighborhood, supporting earlier on what I was mentioning, that the condition of approval was neighborhood. I know you mentioned that that's how it works, but just to have for the record.
But for the record, are you just that condition, or with staff conditions as well?
With staff condition as well, on top of actually staff condition, and in addition to that.
Okay, so staff conditions and neighborhood approval.
Okay. Thank you.
Second.
Second. All right. All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Congratulations. Next item up this evening is item V-25-15, Colonial Pipeline Fence Variance. Consideration of a variance to Unified Development Code subsection 2.3.6F to reduce the setback for a fence along a multi-use trail and to increase the height of a fence along a multi-use trail. The property is located at 1000 Lake Street, is legally described as being located in land lots 698, 699, 744, and 745, 1st District, 2nd Section, Fulton County, Georgia. Mr. Woodman.
Thank you, Chairman and board members. The next request is a request from Colonial Pipeline requesting variances to reduce the setback for a fence and increase the height of the fence along a multi-use trail. And this request is in the Lakeview Park mixed-use development. That is this property right here. This is Lakeview Park. This is 400 and Haynesbridge Road. There is an alignment of the Alpha Loop that goes through this mixed-use development. There's actually multiple. There's an alignment that runs, that will run along Georgia 400 with a potential future bridge or tunnel going across Haynes Bridge and connecting to the mixed-use development across the street. And then there's also the existing and future sections of the Alpha Loop that run from The Gathering, which is the development at the corner of Morrison and Haynes Bridge, and that will cross at Lakeview Parkway and then come down. I guess I could show you on here on an aerial. Come down Lakeview Parkway, and then this is the Alpha Loop, and that large lake sits here. As part of this request, Colonial Pipeline is proposing to install a security fence around the perimeter of their property. And I'll show you that property here in a second. And this property includes their corporate headquarters, office building, and parking deck. And this property is located at 1000 Lake Street, and this is the property here. This property is zoned MU, it's mixed use. So the variance request, so we did a code change probably about 1.5 to 2 years ago. We started seeing folks try to install fences along the Alpha Loop. And the issue is the fences were being placed right up close to the edge of the Alpha Loop. And having fences on each side of our multi-use trail like that kind of creates a tunnel effect, and it's not very inviting. So we did bring a code change to council to require a setback of a fence from a multi-use trail. We don't allow privacy fences adjacent to a multi-use trail, and we have a maximum height of that fence with adjacent to a multi-use trail. And the whole idea, again, is to not have that tunnel effect. We want people to be able to pass each other that are walking along the multi-use trail, and if that means getting off the trail to go on the edge of the trail, if that's what's needed, we just want to make sure that that space is available. So the variances before you are to reduce a setback for a fence along a multi-use trail from 10 feet to as little as 6 feet. That is just in one location where it goes down to 6 feet, and then there are 2 other locations where it goes down to 8, and I'll show you that on the site plan. And then there's a request to increase the height of that fence from 5 feet to 6 feet. And the applicant's reasons for this variance are to secure the property in response to a recent security assessment that they had for the property. Colonial Pipeline transports consumer, aviation, and military fuels through a network of pipelines, and they are categorized by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security as a critical infrastructure and key resource in the energy sector. So this is an important risk mitigation objective for Colonial, their employees, and their national security. So this is the Colonial Pipeline headquarters building here, and then their parking deck is here, Lakeview Parkway, and then Lake Street coming in to the Lakeview mixed-use development. I'm going to just kind of turn the site plan to be similar to this aerial I just showed you. So again, the parking deck sits here, the office building here. On this plan, the red line denotes the actual property line around the property, and then the purple line denotes where the perimeter fencing is around, that they're proposing around the site. The yellow highlighted area here represents the Alpha Loop. So with the applicant's request, there's the setback of the fence to the Alpha Loop. And as I mentioned, there's one location where they take that 10-foot setback down to 6 feet, and that is at this location, which is right at the corner of their existing parking deck building, so right here. And then there are 2 locations where the 10-foot goes down to 8 feet. and that is at this location here, so at the beginning of the parking deck, closer to Lakeview Parkway. And then the second location is just towards the end of the parking deck at this location. So the area where the fence gets closer than 10 feet to the Alpha Loop, that represents approximately 87 linear feet. And there is 615 linear feet of fencing adjacent to the Alpha Loop. So it's a pretty small area where the fence encroaches into that setback. As I mentioned, the other part of this request is to allow the increase of the height of the fence from 5 to 6 feet. I'll show you that fencing, but I did take some street view photos that I just wanted to show to you. This is a street view of the parking deck. Look, so the parking deck is here, and you're on Lakeview Parkway looking down into the development. So this is on, just to orient you, the picture that I'm about to show you is the beginning of the Alpha Loop. So that Alpha Loop again goes down past the parking deck first before it gets to the office building. So that's what you're looking at here. This is the Alpha Loop. And this is continuing down. This is that corner section where it pinches. There's an 8-foot setback right at the edge of the parking deck here. And then this is the Alpha Loop continuing down. This is an existing larger office building on an adjacent property. This is the applicant's parking deck, and their office building is here. This is a similar picture. They're also fencing along the frontage of their property as well, so that the entire campus will be fenced in. And so this represents the front of the development. This is the office building here, and this is Lake Street. So I just wanted to show you what that looks like from Lakeview Parkway. So you're on Lakeview Parkway at that roundabout. Lake Street sits here. This is the entrance signage for Lakeview, and their parking deck you can see here. This is a picture kind of as you're turning into Lake Street. This is Lake Street coming off that roundabout. The parking deck is here. You can see some fencing is already up. The fencing along the frontage here does not come close to any setbacks of the multi-use trail, but I did want to show you that with the request. The applicant did provide also a planting plan with the perimeter fencing. So they've got to relocate. This site is completely finished, and the site landscaping has been installed. So as you can imagine, with the installation of the new sections of fencing, they may have to relocate some existing landscaping. They're also proposing new landscaping in some areas to kind of soften the look of the fence. So for example, along Lake Street, this is their surface parking lot out in front of the existing office building. They're proposing a line of landscaping along their frontage here. Also on the back side of the building, so this is the side of the building where it'll be closer to the Alpha Loop and the lake. There is additional landscaping proposed at this corner of the building, and there's a few spots where they indicate that they'll be relocating existing landscaping. This is the fence material that the applicant submitted with their request. We did not love the picket style pointed spiked edge to the fencing. The applicant really did want that particular style, but our preference and our recommendation is to have a flat top fence. We just feel like it has a more inviting look to it. Looking at the review criteria for the variance, we believe the second criteria, especially the application of the ordinance, would create an unnecessary hardship for the applicant. As I mentioned, Colonial Pipeline does have that designation through the Department of Homeland Security. Securing their property's perimeter is an important risk mitigation for Colonial Pipeline. And as I mentioned, if approved, we are recommending conditions requiring fencing with a flat top, no spikes, as well as decorative landscaping along the perimeter of the fence. The applicant did provide their citizen participation plan. They indicated they received no comments as a result of their outreach. And with that, staff is recommending approval of the applicant's request subject to 4 conditions. I'll go through those. Condition 1 is the site plan condition. So the site plan that's labeled Exhibit A that I showed you with the highlighted alpha loop on it. So you can see this is labeled Exhibit A. So Condition 1, fence setbacks along the alpha loop connection shall be substantially as depicted on the site plan labeled Exhibit A, with setbacks limited to no less than 6 feet in certain locations. 2, fence height shall not exceed 6 feet, and fence shall be decorative black metal with a flat top, no spikes, as approved by staff. Fencing and gates shall be maintained by the property owner. Condition 3 references Exhibit B, the planting plan. 3, planting plan shall be substantially similar to the plan labeled Exhibit B, except for changes to comply with the following. Decorative landscaping consisting of shrubs and grasses shall be planted in areas with reduced fence setbacks along the alpha loop as approved by staff. So in those areas where the setback pinches down, we're asking for some decorative landscaping there to soften the look of the fence. And then we go on to say, if transplanted landscape material does not survive, it shall be replaced. Landscaping along the fence shall be maintained by the property owner. And then condition 4 deals with the gates across. So there's access at the parking deck at this location, the main entrance to the site, and the secondary entrance to the site off of Lake Street. And again, the applicant is fencing their entire property, so there'll be gates across here. And so condition 4 was important for our transportation engineer. In condition 4, the applicant did help me with the language here. That language reads, the gates across the driveways providing vehicular access to Lake Street shall remain open on weekdays that are business days between the hours of 5:30 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. and during events hosted on the property outside of these hours that generate an equivalent number of vehicle trips as operations on a typical business day. This requirement does not prohibit the gates from being closed on weekends, on federal, state, or local holidays, or during enhanced security conditions or in emergency situations. The intent of that condition is that we don't want these gates closed off when there's active business going on, because if they have deliveries or someone that shows up to the site that maybe doesn't have a pass to open those gates, we don't want the traffic to stack up on to Lake Street. So the applicant is intending to keep those open during the hours that they would expect any kind of deliveries. So that concludes the report. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
This is more of a curiosity question. When we approve fencing, is it very similar with the black aluminum, or is it a hodgepodge of fencing?
So we allow a variety, our code allows a variety of fencing, and we don't require permits for fencing. So there's a variety of different fencing that you can put on a particular property depending on if it's residential or commercial. Of course, we don't allow things like barbed wire fencing on certain properties. We do not have any specific fence types that are allowed next to a multi-use trail, except for we say that you cannot have a privacy fence adjacent to the multi-use trail.
Okay, so it does have to be, you can see through it, I guess. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
we want that visibility to see
Yeah.
through.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have other CIKR businesses in the city of Alfred? I'm not asking what they are, but is this the only?
I'm not sure if we have any others. I know that we have some sites that are sensitive where we do not have to provide copies of plans because they're protected as sensitive sites. I'm not sure if we have any of that specific designation, though.
On those type of sites, what's the height of the fences around those?
Typically, so we allow up to 8 feet. So a lot of the data center sites, for example, on a commercial property, you can have, the fence can be up to 8 feet. Now, if that commercial property had a multi-use trail on it, the maximum height would be 5 feet. But on a commercial property, in general, a fence could be up to 8 feet.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, thank you very much. Would the applicant like to please come forward? Good evening. Please, if you would, state your name and your relationship to the application for us.
Yes, sir. Jordan Edwards, Galloway Law Group, 4062 Peachtree Road, Atlanta. Agent for the applicant. Let me just plug this in real quick. Daggum thing upside down. Right, agent for the applicant. In this case, for variance requests, the applicant is Colonial Pipeline Company. That request for variance is to allow the installation of this perimeter security fence at the property at 1000 Lake Street. I'm joined by several members of Colonial staff tonight. If there's any questions that y'all have that I need to bow to them to answer, I'll do so, and we'll hopefully get the information that you're looking for. The variances that have been requested, they do allow a fence, which may seem small, but it's not. This is very important for the operations that happen at this property. As we described in the application materials, Colonial Pipeline is the largest transporter of finished petroleum products in the country. So they transport more than 100 million gallons of fuel per day. So it's not an exaggeration to say that they provide most of the fuel for the cars in the eastern United States. As Mr. Woodman said, because of the role that Colonial plays in the national economy, the U.S. government has designated it as a critical resource for national security, and that comes with additional requirements for site security, both of their infrastructure, their network of pipelines, which stretch from Houston to New York, but also of other facilities, including their office building. So Colonial has called Alpharetta home since 2001. Before that, they were downtown. They built this building in 2021 and have been here ever since. I won't go into detail. Michael's already done a great job with that. This office houses the office staff at the headquarters. But in addition to that, there are other facilities that are sensitive facilities inside this building. So there's a data center here that's required to be on site due to federal regulations. In addition to that, they have a central nervous system where they can control the throughput through the pipeline, the entire thing from this site. So without going into details, it's possible to turn off part of that network from this property. So important things do happen here. And the fact that the property is not secured by a perimeter fence was identified in that assessment, and it has come down to Colonial to address that issue. So that brings us to the variance request. Mr. Woodman, he's already been through this slide with you. This is the fencing plan that we submitted. The red line is the property line. The blue line interior to that is the proposed fencing line. We encroach that gray squiggle right there, that's the alpha loop, and we encroach that 10-foot setback in just 3 places, which I've numbered for you. That setback line actually crosses onto the built elements of the site. So the property being built in 2021, that was before the code change that Mr. Woodman mentioned. That 10-foot setback line crosses over a retaining wall in location number 1. And number 2, the setback line crosses over a sidewalk that goes around the perimeter of the parking deck. And then number 3, it crosses over a brick wall that screens the property's refuse area, the dumpsters. So it is impossible, unfortunately, to put a fence that secures the property closer in because of those built elements. That said, we're designing it to be as close to those elements as possible to reduce the variance request as much as we can. So number 2, as Michael mentioned, that's where the encroachment is deepest. There it's about 3.5 feet into the 10 feet. But it's just for, that's also the shortest period, the shortest linear length of encroachment. We've asked for a 6-foot fence. Again, that's kind of a security standard. That's 1 foot taller than the 5 feet allowed adjacent to the trail. But as was mentioned, it's still 2 feet shorter than would be allowed otherwise on a non-residential property. So again, we're trying to keep these variance requests to a minimum. Just in terms of style, we're okay with that condition about the flat top. We had wanted it to be a picket top because we thought that was more dissuasive to people looking to hop over it. But we understand the need for this also to be aesthetically appealing. So that is pretty much it. That's the summary of what we're requesting. Staff have recommended approval subject to 4 conditions. We're okay with all 4 of those conditions, so just want to ask that y'all approve this tonight subject to those conditions. I know I've been brief, but I'm happy to answer any questions. If I don't have the answer, we'll find the person who does. I think it's unlikely to have any public comments, but I'll reserve any time I've got left just in case.
Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. I'm sorry, tell me your name again.
Jordan Edwards.
All right, Mr. Edwards, the proposal you have, does this satisfy the conditions or the concerns in the security report that you've received?
Yes, sir, it would. We've had a good bit of back and forth with planning and development here and with transportation. Every time we talk with them, we have to send it up the line internally, and this would work for us.
And this covers all of those concerns, and it covers 100% of the requirements that...
Of the fencing concern, yes, sir.
Right, okay, thank you.
I'm just trying to understand I understand the need for additional security, but when you have a fence around a property, you've got openings when the businesses are open. What are you achieving with this?
Well, so the need to have the gates open, we understand. We don't want to impact traffic more than necessary. Lake Street's not a busy street, but we understand the concern. In an ideal world, we maybe keep those closed during the business day, but we also understand that we've got neighbors and we're part of the community, and so there's a need to keep them open. So ideally, we'd keep them closed.
But if they are open, is it gate, or is the fence providing any real security then, since it's not?
Well, it provides security around the perimeter, so where the gate on the back of the property, for example, on the sides, where there's less of a visual presence on the sides of the property. So if I go back here, so on the plan east, the side of the building, there's not much. There's not much of a buffer there between that and the property line, and it's also sort of on the back of the property where there's not eyes on it. So the fence will still help around the rest of the perimeter. The fence is not the only security measure that Colonial has at the property. They've got a full 24/7 security team, so they'll have eyes on the gates.
So first of all, I just want to thank you all for trying to be as minimal in your variance request as possible. So that is very much appreciated. And then my only real comment is, I think I was following what you were alluding to, is I want to make sure that the city is doing everything that they need to for your security team and the report that you got. And I was wondering, I know that you proposed the spiked fence and the city likes the flat fence, but is the security team okay with the flat fence? I know you're okay, you're saying you're okay with it, but I just want to hear that that's okay.
Lou, do you want to just address it? Yeah, just so it comes from the horse's mouth.
If you'd state your name, please.
Yes, of course. Good evening. My name is Lou Kraus. I'm senior attorney at Colonial Real Estate. We had a discussion with our chief information security officer and security team, and they have accepted, or they're okay with the style of fence proposed.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there any public comment? Okay. Board, any discussion amongst board? All right, do we have a motion?
All right. I'll move to approve with staff's conditions.
All right,
Second.
second. All right, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, congratulations, motion passes. All right, are there any items from board members tonight? No? Do we have any additional items from staff? All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
All right, I'll second that. All in favor? All right, we are adjourned at 6:25.